Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bet on Black. My name is Monique. I'm here today with Maxine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. I'm super excited to have this conversation. We were talking a little bit beforehand, but I feel like dating and romantic life is all that everyone's talking about, especially in my friend group. What made you start We Met IRL?
Yeah, for sure. I also feel the same about dating being super relevant. But at the time, it was 2021. I was 25 years old, coming out of the pandemic, like we're getting vaccines. And I just felt like dating apps weren't the same and they weren't yielding the results I wanted. Like, I
What
wanted
dating apps were you
commitment.
on?
I was on Bumble and Hinge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were your experiences like back then on those two apps? Because that's another thing I want to get into, but I guess we're getting into it now. But like the dating apps are so different for different people. Even all the TikTok warriors have like, oh, if you're, I think it's like a dark skinned Black woman, then you should be on Bumble. And if you're a light skinned Black woman, you should be on Hinge. And like, that's problematic in and of itself. But I personally have always felt better on Hinge. I feel like there's just more Black people on Hinge.
Yeah.
But I actually recently just went back on Bumble because Anwar, who I know you know, has been telling Black women that they need to date outside their race.
Yes.
So I'm just curious for you, when you were on it, what were your experiences like?
I always feel like I had better experiences on Bumble.
Okay.
But I had positive experiences on Hinge too.
Okay, good.
I feel like my issue though was that the men I was dating or matching with weren't really looking for commitment. They were looking more for like hookups, vibes, anything but relationship.
Right.
Like soon as you say that intention, it's like you just said a swear word or something.
Really? And that was on both apps? That was like across the board?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I guess it's also because I was young. Like, that was my experience from, like, just moving to New York. So 22 years old to 25. And I'm dating, like, my age plus 2-3 years.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm a Southern girl. I always wanted to get married, have kids.
Where in the South are you from?
Do the whole thing. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and Arkansas a little bit.
Oh, that's really the South.
Yeah, all my family's from Mississippi. Like, all married, kids, all that.
So are like most of your friends back home already married, have kids, have a house, all the things?
Oh yeah. Yeah, all my friends from high school for the most part have like multiple kids and married
Isn't that
right out of high
crazy?
school. Yeah, it's insane cuz
Like-
I'm like 28 now, and now I realize like how young that really is to get married at like 22, 21, to have multiple kids at this age. Like I can't imagine.
Insane. Like I'm from New York City, so like I feel like coastal cities, big cities, we kind of move a little differently. And so like none of my friends are married or like we're all in the same space right now. But I remember like 2 years ago, my family told me that my cousin, who's a year younger than me, she lives in London, it was getting married. And I just kept telling my dad, I was like, this is so crazy. Like Shantae, like she's getting married? Like Shantae, like the girl that we was just like flower girls 20, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, she's out here getting married, younger than me. And I was just like, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, that was more normal for me. Like I always was like, wow, people are just, you're just dating for fun. What does that mean? You're not dating for marriage? Like that was always like my mindset. But yeah, like back to like what inspired We Met IRL, I just found myself having all these conversations with my friends like, okay, dating apps aren't it. But when you look for like dating events, they're geared towards like an older age range. They're not diverse and they don't have that cool element to it. So I felt like I could do something better. I also went to a singles event with one of my friends at the time, and as predicted, it was like all white. We were the only two Black girls, and most people were like in their 30s. I left that event saying, I think I can do something better. And that next year, like February 2022 was our first event. The event was a huge success. I made a TikTok. That TikTok went viral. And that was like the, what's the word? That was like the recognition I needed to say like, okay, maybe I'm actually on to something.
Right, like people are interested in this. This is something that's like
strangers
has potential.
on the internet are interested in this, support this,
Right.
asking when the next one is. But yeah, fast forward, we just celebrated our 3-year anniversary.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. It's been really awesome.
Okay, wait. You had that first mixer experience where you were like, I don't feel included here. I don't feel seen. This is not my vibe, right? And then this idea started percolating for you, like, okay, maybe I can do something that is different. Maybe I can provide a space for people like me to have, to find romantic connections or just connections in general. And then you had your first event in 2022, February. So between those two moments, walk me through like the actual process of like having the idea into the execution of it.
Honestly, it was pretty quick. Like, I feel like I haven't had that much clarity ever in my life, but in that instance, I felt like I had this genius idea that I had to execute on. I told my family about it first. We have a family group chat. I'm really close with my family, and they were all like, yes, do it now. And so I called up one of my homegirls to help me come up with a name. She helped me with that. And then
great name.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And one of my roommates and one of her friends from college helped us with the graphics. My brother helped too. But it was like, looking back on it, it looks really corny. But at the time, we wanted to kind of come up with a visual that gave both like coming out of internet and like online dating and coming into reality. I can show you the graphic later, but it's basically like two hands connecting, but one hand is coming out of a screen or something.
Okay,
it was cute in the moment.
Okay.
Like,
no, I can envision it. I can see it.
Yeah, our graphics are really nice now. Like, I've learned so much about design and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was hard, like to have this vision, but to not really know how it looks because I'm not a designer. I have a journalism background, but as far as graphics and stuff and literally creating a brand, I didn't know much. I made the logo myself, but that's really just text and words. Like,
I mean, even yes, but like even with this project that I'm on with this podcast, I knew as well. Like, I think it's when you're starting out with things, it's so important to like, yes, be involved in everything because it's your thing, but also like knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly.
And like, my strength is not the design, it's not the visual aspect of it. So I've definitely had to reach out to my community and be like, hey, would you like, are you able to help me with this? And like putting my vision into art, because logos are so important. Your visual identity, especially on social media, is so important. So it's really great that you at least like admit where you started and like how much you've grown since then.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, community is so huge. Like I said, it was totally a team, family effort. And to this day, when I get partnership opportunities, I send it to my family first. I say they're like my board of directors.
Yeah.
But they really help me assess things. They help me when I'm bringing new people onto my team. Like, they're really my backbone, and I'm grateful for their support because without them, there would be no We Met IRL. There would be no me.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful for like my friends who like shared the page when we had like 5 followers.
Right.
And I was handing out flyers every weekend. Like, it was really grassroots effort.
Wow.
Social media helped a ton because the first event, it took like everything, getting the word out every way I knew how.
Yeah. I mean, I first found out about it on TikTok. So that's a testament to even what you're saying already. Yeah. One of the things that I noticed that's, I feel like, different from a lot of other single mixer events that I've seen is you guys don't just do mixers or speed dating. I think earlier today I signed up to get on the mailing list for the rock climbing event that's coming up. How do you decide which sort of activations you're going to do that's like, is going to be fun and community building as well?
I feel like as We Met IRL has grown, I've had more ideas about the possibilities of what we can do in an event because, our first event was speed dating, but I never wanted it to be just a speed dating company. I wanted us to be a trusted brand where you're going to have a great time and you're going to connect with people in real life. So once I had that identity clear, the different opportunities that come my way, it's pretty easy for me to assess, like, does this make sense for my brand, my community, or should I pass on it? that sort of thing. But yeah, I have been wanting to do like an active activity for a while. I love the idea.
Like in general, I've been like wanting to kind of get back into rock climbing, and I feel like, especially for our age group, like people are really trying to be active. Like, and so I think, and people are over, at least, let me speak for myself. I'm over the like going to a club and trying to find a man. Like, I really just don't think I'm gonna find my man at the club. Like, I don't think that's where it's gonna be. But I still want to find someone or like explore connections. And like, if I'm at a rock climbing event and you're at a rock climbing event, at least I know we have that in common as well, right? Like, we either like to be active or we specifically like rock climbing.
Yeah, I feel like those common interests is where I always tell my friends to look for someone, whether it be friendship or dating, like, just do what you're already inclined to do. The people who are there, you already have that in common. And that makes it so much easier to build a connection versus like, I swiped on you, you look attractive, but then when you meet, there's no spark, there's no connection. It's hard to know, like, what do we actually have in common? What is going to make us keep coming back to each other? I feel like that's a big gap with dating apps. It's literally random. You can filter age and race and stuff, but it's random people that are geographically around you.
Yeah. I want to get into some stats really quickly. So I was doing a little bit of research and I saw on your media kit that 90% of the followers that you have are women, which it's a high number. It's not necessarily surprising because I feel like when I go out, there are just more women in general. I don't know if that's a stat like in the world. Probably. But like, I do feel like women are also the ones that are like actively looking for relationships. But on your photos, I see a lot of men. To me, it doesn't look like, oh, this is like a women's only event or that you have trouble finding men to come. So how do you reach out? How do you get the men to be there?
Yeah.
That's the question.
That's a great question. So I'll say that media kit is definitely old. Like, I feel like our numbers are more like 60-40 now, but still female dominant, because that's from our first year. I haven't updated that. But I think it is interesting what you said about women attending events more. I think it's just the fact that women, we have always been socialized and raised and conditioned to be in spaces with other people and to try different things and to put ourselves out there socially, way more so than men ever have. With men, community is built around sports mostly. For women, it's everything. Even when you're a little girl, you're kind of like, let's play nail salon, let's play hair salon, like, let's cook together, let's have a tea party. Boys don't really have that equivalent. It's kind of like you're on your soccer team, your t-ball, basketball, those are your friends. But even outside of that sport, it's not like, okay, like, all the guys, let's go to the barbershop or let's go to like,
it's like, let's sit and watch video games or a movie or something like that. It's never like actual like talking and like getting
and it's not really like emotion feeling based. And again, I say we condition ourselves to that. I feel like women and men aren't necessarily more emotional than the other. I think it has a lot to do with how we raise people to be a certain way. I think going back to social activities, I feel like men are so much more shy when it comes to going to an event alone, going to something they never heard of, or going to something that they saw on the internet and they don't even know what to expect. Because even to this day, when I talk about We Met IRL, women are always like, wow, I've never heard of that, but let me know when the next one is. And men are always more like, what's that about? Like, what does that really mean? Like, what happens? Or does that actually work? Like, they're very, like, results driven versus I feel like when I talk to women, they're like, I'll just try it. Like, it sounds cool. Like, I've seen it in the movies and I always wanted to do it myself.
Why do you think that is? That's so interesting.
I don't know. I think it just goes back to that vulnerability piece. But I also think men with dating apps, it's not a like high stakes thing. Like, you swipe, you message a girl, she doesn't reply. It's not really a big deal. It's not a big ego diss. But at an event, it's like, what if none of these girls like me? What if none of these girls think I'm appealing? I think it also has to do with the culture. I feel like finances are so heavy right now. Like, to have a man with money, like all these songs are talking about brokey, like I need a rich man, I need him to fly me out and stuff. No, I get it. I'm a woman, like I like nice things. I like gifts, jewelry, all that stuff.
But no, I get what you mean. Like,
but it's a lot of pressure about 50-50, that whole
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Like there's so much of that. And I feel like there's so much like negativity around men as a whole, like talking about dating versus like the positivity of growing to love someone, making that connection. I think men are very skeptical of dating right now and like, what is in it for them? What's the benefit? If I go to this event, is anyone actually going to like me? Or is it going to be on dating apps where I pay to swipe on these girls and they don't even give me the time of day, or I take them out to eat and they ghost me or something, you know? Like, I hear that a lot from guys. Even at my events, like, they'll say, like, I had so much more fun than I thought. Like, thank you for the space you created, because they honestly expected the worst. And I'm like, oh, no, why did you expect that? But also, like, I'm glad we impressed you at our event because we put thought into the space that we're creating. But yeah, I hope men get a more open mind. I also feel like we're just not used to rejection as a whole nowadays. Like, it's back to the digital. You're messaging someone, you're DMing, but it's not like, oh, hey, Monique, I saw you. Yeah. You're cute. Can I get your number? And you say no. Like, the thought of that for people is so hard to understand. Whereas, like, my parents and generations beyond that, that's all they did. Right. Like, you get a lot of no's. And it's just like, okay, whatever. The next girl, her friend, I'm going to ask her. Like, I feel like guys don't have that confidence or that initiative. Yeah, that's the word.
That's interesting. And I do think, like, going back to the pandemic, that the pandemic had a lot to do with that. It's interesting for me to say that because I'm 24. So when the pandemic happened, I was 20. And so I couldn't even drink yet, like, legally. Like, I wasn't necessarily actively dating like that. So I've kind of been in the shift of, like, men not knowing how to approach women, which has been very difficult to be a woman, be a Black woman, and not feel like you can be approached. And especially being a Black woman and, like, having words like intimidating come at you. And it's just like, damn, like, I don't think I'm intimidating. I regard myself with a certain respect, but I don't think that makes me off-putting or anything. And it's like this balance of, like, okay, do I need to be more open, right? Which is it could be completely valid, right? Like body language and all that stuff. But then how much of it is just how men are now? And like, is there anything that we can do to really, like, start to change that? I mean, obviously your events are starting to do that, but do you see that kind of continuing? Like, do you see the future in that?
I definitely see, I think more people will step away from relying on technology for connection. But I don't know, because the way AI is, like, taking over a lot of industries that we never imagined automation in, it definitely has a possibility. But I feel like the recent kind of fumbles that dating apps have taken with their, like, media campaigns is going into that direction of, like, y'all are missing the point. And also, like, everything that's new becomes old, and then something that's old becomes new again, right? So dating apps have been around for almost 10 years, even beyond that. Like, Match.com came out in the 90s. Yeah, so they're not new and fun and shiny anymore. People know exactly what they're going to get out of swiping versus, like, trying something else, even if it is, you don't have as many dates as you would get if you were relying on apps only, but you're going to have more quality because if you're going to rock climbing and trying different things that you're interested in, you're going to meet someone. It might take a while, but when you meet that person, it's going to be like, wow, like, that was a great relationship. Even if it doesn't become, like, a life partner, it's going to be a lot easier and it's going to feel more organic. So I hope that we lean more into, like, community, real life connections, talking to people, friends of friends, like, all of that. And also, like, having more friends of the opposite sex, like, being comfortable talking to guys in the context of just friendship.
Okay, so let's now I gotta unpack that one. Because, okay, so I agree with that. I have difficulty having friendships with men. One, because when I've tried to do it, it's always felt like are we just friends? Like, I don't know. I've had one instance in specific where a guy stopped being friends with me because I feel like he had feelings for me and it wasn't reciprocated. But even instead of telling me that he had feelings for me, he just decided to stop the friendship. And that was actually like really sad because I had just like moved out and like we lived really close to each other. And so I'm like very guarded with men. I feel like, I mean, in general, I feel like a lot of women are guarded with men. And I agree. It doesn't help because, one, it's good to know what the opposite sex thinks about certain things and just have a different perspective, and you become more comfortable with them and so you can talk to them better. But like I just still feel it's still uncomfortable for me. It's not as easy for me to do it.
I feel that. I feel like most of my guy friends came from like trusted communities. Like a lot of my guy friends come from church and some I met like in elementary and we've just stayed in touch. Like that's one of my closest guy friends. Also my older brother. I feel like having an older brother helped me see like he was my first introduction to like a good man who I can rely on just in that way of friendship and family. So that really helped pave the way. Him having guys over all the time and those becoming my friends. And it never was in a weird way. It was in a trusted situation. But yeah, I've had experiences of that too, where it's like, I thought you were my friend, but you just wanted to date me.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery slope, but I feel like just like what we said about common interest, community, and finding friendship, it's not as easy as you might think. But when you get that, it's worth it. And yeah, like, unfortunately, dating is so close to friendship when it comes to the opposite sex. So are there, just assessing that.
Yeah. Are there certain boundaries that you personally put in place when you have male friends that like kind of let them know that, hey, like instead of having the whole conversation, you know, but you like just light boundaries that you put in place, be like, hey, this is not that.
Honestly, no, but I feel like I can always assess like when we're initially connecting. Like if I meet a guy at a friend's birthday or something, the way he's talking to me, I feel like I'm pretty good at picking up on like, oh, you're trying to flirt versus like, oh, you're my friend.
Right.
Even at networking events, like guys, sometimes it feels like a dating event when you're at a networking event.
Sure.
So just like being clear on like, oh, okay, yeah, I would love to connect over coffee versus like, oh, you want to go to the movies? Like, oh, okay. Like, you can get my Instagram. Or, you know, just like just play it off a little, whatever way you do that, and just being more aloof.
Yeah. So I'm a Black woman. Obviously, you're a Black woman. And we've been talking a lot about that already, just like those dynamics. But a lot of the people that come to your this is not like a only for Black people company. You service all races. How do you feel like it's shifting the narrative for Black women to be at your events and to sort of have a different way of connecting with all types of people?
That's one thing I love about We Met IRL, the fact that we still 3 years later attract predominantly Black women. Because when I created We Met IRL, I wanted us to feel like we weren't a minority at my events and that we were the prize, because we're always told like, oh, nobody wants to date Black women. You're the least swiped on. You're so intimidating.
Like, you're the most educated. Talk about how like disruptive and like just damaging that is?
Yeah. So you tell me that, now what? I'm the least swiped on, so I should delete the app.
Right.
Like, I was thinking that 4 years ago, you know, because that's when those studies were coming out. And it's like, you're doing more harm than good. And even like Anwar, the dating coach, I love his content. But what you said about his advice of Black women to date outside of their race, we're the only race of women that is told, stop relying on your race, try something else because you're not going to get fulfilled. And I hate that, and that's why.
But can you argue? But is that realistic though? Because I mean, I think it's realistic. I think what he's saying is unfortunate. But when I look around at the circles and when you look on social media and stuff, like I think we can both agree it's surprising to see a Black man actually defending a Black woman.
Yeah.
More often than not, you see the podcast warriors. So I literally saw a TikTok video the other day. You know how the whole thing is like, not every man should have a mic? And like, I literally saw this 3 men talking with Dr. Umar, which everyone has their opinion about Dr. Umar, but you know what? He rides with the Black queen. So
I love it.
I'm here for him, okay, on that instance. But they were literally arguing with him about like a woman's play, like how they should date Black women, and that Black women are the ones that are like putting them down and are so aggressive. And Dr. Umar's trying to explain, like, first of all, 2 things can be right at once. You know what I'm saying? Like, Black women have, you know, been forced to take on more masculine roles due to systemic racism, but also Black men, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing for the community in the way that Black women always show up for y'all? What are y'all doing? Y'all are then turning around and dating outside your community, right? Or just impregnating and leaving the women who
talk about it.
You know what I mean? So, and I have friends who, you know, want to date Black men.
Yeah.
And which I totally respect and I totally understand, but to what cost? You know, because either you get a Black man, but he's not everything that you want, whether that's financially or looks wise, or maybe you feel like you're settling in some way, or, you know, then the other alternative is dating outside your race.
Yeah, you've made great points. I have always felt like I just want Black women to be happy. And if that's with someone outside of your race, or that is with someone who looks like you, someone who is Black, I support it either way. But I do feel like there are really great Black men out there. I feel like what we see on the internet isn't exactly true of real life, because when I go down south, like, all my cousins are with Black men.
I gotta go to
and
the
they're
South.
all happy.
I gotta go to the South.
Yeah, like I feel like specifically the New York City mindset kind of puts these blinders on us, and also puts us, we're really guarded in the city because of just the environment we're in, that when it comes to romance, it's really hard to get that in a city. Like, even from like having a guy walk you home, like, you just don't have that same experience. Like, you take the train and you try to hug and it's crowded on the platform. Like, you just don't get those nice moments that you would in a more like suburban environment. But yeah, I think there are really amazing Black men out there. There's amazing men of all shades. So it's just a matter of connecting with who works for you. And I also think, like, your dream man isn't my dream man. Right. And I want women to really think about, like, who do they want? Because it's not going to be who JT or Meg Thee Stallion is telling you. Like, nobody really wants a Birkin. It's kind of like you want the romance and you want that tailored experience, but what you want in romance isn't necessarily what I want. So really honing in on what you want, and you will find that. Like, what you're seeking is seeking you already. Just accept that and get into that wave, and you'll be on a good path. Also, listen to Anwar. He really, he really knows what he's saying.
Does,
he knows what he's talking about.
No, I love Anwar. What you were saying about feeling so guarded. Like I said, I'm born and raised in New York City. I went to school in DC, which is like basically the same thing. And recently, I've just been feeling so tense all the time. Like, as soon as I got like the Aura ring, I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh, I know.
But like, as soon as I got it, I have been obsessed with tracking like my stress levels. And as soon as I leave the house, it spikes. Yeah. And I'm stressed until I get home at the end of the day. Wow. And it's just like, I've been thinking a lot about even just taking the train. As a woman, you're constantly on guard with what you're wearing, how close people are to you. And a part of me, I was talking to some friends who are from the South, and I was just like, how do you just like smile at people? You just smile at men on the street? Yeah. And they were like, yeah. And I was just like, that's so foreign to me, because anytime I've done that, it's been an invitation for something that I don't want, right? Yeah. And so a part of me is like, not for dating purposes necessarily, but just general happiness. I think I do want to move out of New York and like experience something different. I don't know if it's the South. I don't know where yet. Yeah. But I definitely think there's something to like geographically what the different experiences are.
New York has an energy unlike anywhere else. That's why people love it here, but that's also why people leave. Mm-hmm. And I think it's worth exploring going somewhere else because, yeah, you're really in fight or flight mode from the time you step out of your door. And yeah, I agree. Like, I had to like stop smiling so much because that's how I was raised and that's what I was used to. But yeah, it's like an invitation up here. But in the South, it's just like, oh, hey, good morning.
It's a nice thing to do.
That's literally it. No guy's going to be like, okay, now what? Like, no, it's literally just being a decent person. And as a Southern woman, like, I'm grateful for those values because it is about community and like knowing your neighbor and just being a decent person, not expecting anything. Maybe down the line, like you see the person at the gym every day, shoot your shot, but not.
We go on the same cart every day. It's like, hey. But like not the first time. Like, relax
and don't be a creep. That's the thing. There's just so many creeps here, and because we're like on the ground, like we are walking the pavement, you just interact with them more than you would in a city where there's cars.
Because you roll up the window,
literally
blast your music.
Literally, because you drive to church or you drive to your events and you go home. You don't have that interaction of like around the building you're going to might be in a bigger area with more certain type of people. But yeah, like in New York, like truly anyone and everyone is on the train. Yeah. And you will experience that every day.
I wanted, like, now that we're on the topic of geography, I know you had your first international event in Canada, right? A few months ago. How was that? And like, did you see like a difference between how they dated and did the event versus
totally?
Tell me about it.
Canada event was amazing. We did an event in Canada, in Ottawa. It was a partnership with this events brand called Au Pair. They usually do like more artsy, community-based events, and they have been wanting to do a dating event. We connected years ago on TikTok, and like to finally make it happen was so amazing. So they like were our support to find the venue and stuff, and we did all the like activities at the event. But the men were so excited to be there and to talk to women, and they were flirting in the way that I've never seen in New York. Yeah, like because my sister was working the door, and you know, like Ottawa is very French, so they were like speaking French to her. Literally, it's a lot of Haitians, it's a lot of Caribbeans, and they were really like just. The charm was on. And some of the guys who came to the event, they like got dressed together, got ready together, and picked out really nice outfits. Like all the guys looked really good. You can tell they genuinely put in thought and effort into going to this event and not knowing what to expect. But yeah, they were all excited. They were talking to us after like, when are y'all coming back? Oh, really? Some people already had like dates scheduled at the end of it. What else did I notice? It was just a genuine excitement about being in a space that was intended for dating. Yeah. The founder of Au Pair, her name's Charlene, and she was saying Ottawa is the capital, so it's kind of like DC. Okay. But in Ottawa, since a lot of people work in government, there's not a lot of social parties and stuff. Like her event series did like the first like fun day party, and people didn't even know what to expect at that. So to go to a dating event was so new and foreign to them, but exciting because of the legitimacy of like our page, and they could look at our events and our content. I think that really helped people feel comfortable. But yeah, it was just a genuine excitement from the men that I don't typically see at the New York events. And we've done events in DC, and I feel the same there too. Like the guys in DC are a lot more forward, a lot more excited.
Really? I prefer to, when I'm in DC, I feel like the men are just very different.
Really?
I don't know. And I think it's because like being a New Yorker, you're just so used to being, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but even my jokes, when I joke, it's a bit like, it's a bit hard because I know you could take it. But in DC, it's like, I feel like they're used to the girls just being a bit more like softer, demure. And like, I can be, but also if I'm at the door, I'm just like joking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. Our events in DC, the guys were excited, but I think it's like what you're saying, like those are DC girls at that event. Right. So they're bringing a different energy than New York girls with DC men would bring. Every city has its own vibe, has its own energy. But yeah, the Canada event was our best event. I really feel that way.
I do really like what you were saying about the men got dressed together and came together, because I feel like women do that a lot, right? But even what you were saying with a lot of the men in New York, that they're very suspicious and nervous about it. And it goes back to what we were saying about men and how they're socialized to do group things together is not that. It's like things where they're not talking and they're just doing sports or playing video games, something like that. And we could definitely learn from that. But I think that's what you're doing, which is really great. But there's something with the psyche needs to change where it's like, this can be a cool thing to do.
I fully agree. I would never hear that in New York. And even early on when I was advertising our events, I would tell guys like, oh yeah, bring your friend too. And some guys would be like, that's competition. I'm coming solo. I'm like, why do you have that mindset? Because the guys in Canada were like, yeah, like we all talked about what we're looking for, our intentions, like all of that. They were putting thought in. Like even me and my sister were like, we need to move to Canada.
Right.
Like,
no, I love Canada.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, so I do want to wrap up just a little bit, but I want to ask you, what's your personal love language? And do you feel like the way that you like to be approached or the way that you like to form connections has influenced the way that you do events?
That's a good question. My love language.
I feel like my love language is acts of service.
Yeah.
Like if I know that you are like showing up for me and I don't have to tell you, and like, I think this is the Leo in me, but we're very moody and temperamental. And so it's like, if you can pick up on my mood and you just know, okay, she's had a tough day, let me get her a yerba or something like that. Something that you know I'll really enjoy. That really says a lot to me.
Yeah. I was going to say like, it would have to be either acts of service or words, not really words of affirmation though. Because what I'm getting at is like, I want someone with intention and initiative. Like you're paying attention to me. Like you're planning dates that would only work for Maxine. Like you're listening to what I'm interested in and you put thought into it versus like, okay, we're always getting dinner, going to the movies or going to do so many activities. Do that. Like, yeah, like let's mix it up. Like let's try something different. Let's surprise me with a small gift. Like it could literally be like my favorite kombucha. It's like, oh my gosh, like you pay attention to my favorite kombucha. Like, wow, you know, like I'm really looking forward to experiencing that in my next relationship. Just like intention and genuine concern. Because me, like what you said about how does that play into the events I host, I put a lot of thought into everything I do. Like I'm a very intentional, attentive person. I care about how people are feeling and making sure that everyone feels included. And so when it comes to relationships, I'm looking for someone who can give me that energy as well. And as someone who's always kind of been seen as like the mom of the friend group or the auntie, I want someone who I can lean on to be like, oh yeah, my man got it. Like he plans all our dates. I don't even have to worry about it. Because I'm always that person. I'm always very reliable. And I want something like that in a partner. That's so real. Like, first of all, the intention behind it. Like, I think that's my 2025 word. It's just like intention in everything that I do and everything that comes to me. But also with the planning everything, like in my day job is I'm an assistant to the editor-in-chief of a magazine. And as soon as I get to work, I'm managing someone else's schedule. I'm making reservations for them. I'm trying to figure out the best way for them to have a great day. And so it's like, I've even had to kind of set boundaries with my friends and just be like, I don't want to be known as the planner or the secretary or so in the friend group, because first of all, that's not all that I am, but also that's what I do 8 to 10 hours of my day. And it would be great if I didn't have to do that in my fun time, you know? I completely agree. I used to resent it. Like, my roommates used to call me Mama Max. And I was like, what? Why am I the mom? Like, I've grown to appreciate it because, like, that is a skill that I have to be very organized. Like, even my family, they're like, I'm the project manager. Right. Like, I just coordinated my mom and brother's passport schedules or appointments. So I'm just good at that stuff. But, yeah, like, in my relationship, I want a safe space where I know I don't have to be that. And even in my friendships, like, I will give when I am able to, but also like we all need to pick up on some skills.
Right.
That's just a life skill, to be able to care and put thought into things.
We need to feed into each other. It's not just one person doing it all the time. I love what you mentioned about the small gift. Like, you like when someone just thinks of a small gift for you, because it reminds me of Anwar has talked about, like, I think he says on like second date or something, to like, bring a small gift to a guy and you'll really shock him, because men are not used to getting small gifts. And when he said that really, like, I haven't had the opportunity to do it yet, but I'm definitely open to it. Like, I've just never, again, with the socialization, we haven't been socialized for women to do that.
To give.
You know? So early on, exactly. But I think with the way that things are moving in the culture, that I definitely think that's going to be a big part of making men feel like, okay, I'm not just spending $100+ on a dinner and then just getting nothing back. Because no one would like that.
Yes. Because even my brother, like, he's 31, he's single, and he says he'll date girls, and he's an engineer, he's successful, and the girl is, like, barely paying attention to the stuff he's saying, you know? So that's what he's looking for in a relationship, like a woman who can put her attention on him as much as he gives in relationships. Like, he wants to experience that too. So when Anwar talks about that gift, I thought of my brother for sure, because I'm like, yeah, like, men who are successful, they're happy to provide, but you got to meet them somewhere.
Right.
Show that you have a pulse and you're paying attention to the game he mentioned last week, or whatever his interest is. Like, show that.
Have you done that yet with a guy?
Have I? I don't think so.
Okay, we'll stay tuned. Hopefully in the future
But one guy did that to me. Like, this was years ago. We matched on a dating app, and I was down south. So, and I was at my cousin's house, and they had a Rubik's Cube, and I was trying to solve it, but it was really hard. And on our first date, he brought me a tiny Rubik's Cube. He was like, this one is way easier. I know. I was like, oh my gosh, you ate that.
That's super cute. Oh my gosh. No, he ate that.
Because that was like $5 at Target.
Right.
But you thought of that. Like, you bought this before. It was
very unique to you. Yeah.
Yep.
My last question is, in all your experiences that you've had, and things that you've seen, is there one dating tip that you feel like more people need to just be aware of in this, like, new dating scene that we're in?
One tip people should be aware of. I think people should be more comfortable being uncomfortable and being a bit more vulnerable. A lot of the people I meet at my events are very reserved and guarded. Like, who's gonna be here, or like, what am I supposed to expect? I think we all should be more open to good things happening, and because I'm big, like, I'm Christian, I'm big on, like, energy and being thoughtful with your thoughts and your words. And I feel like if you say I'm gonna have a terrible time tonight, you will have a terrible time tonight.
It's the mindset.
But if you're going into it like, this year I'm gonna be more intentional in my relationships, so you're not putting that expectation, I need a ring by December. You're saying you're going to be more intentional. And that's something you can do even in friendship, even if you don't meet someone romantically this year. So just, like, picking up on those things and being more positive. Like, I truly think there's love out there for everyone. There's so much good in the world. Just even though we experience, like, terrible things in relationships, there's so much good. There's so much to look forward to. So lean more on the glass half full.
Yeah. Well, Maxine, thank you so much for being with me today. This was such a good conversation, such a needed conversation. And I hope a lot of people really take away some gems from this conversation. Where can people find you and We Met IRL?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I agree. It was a much needed conversation. But yeah, We Met IRL is at We Met IRL on TikTok and Instagram. You can join our email list, linked in our bio. And my Instagram is at Maxine Williams. Yeah, that's me.
Great. And you can find me at Monique WNYC on Instagram. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yay.